Welcome guys. Here we have a bit of showing of this particular archer build. And as you can see there, we did over 200,000 damage. I think we can do close to 400,000 damage. Let's have a look again. Are they running? Don't run from us. I'll explain the build very soon. Yeah, this is a very powerful build from our friend X-Knife. Very thankful for him to show us this build. So, how does this build work? This is a very unique but very straightforward ranger build. So, you are using a gun or pistol, and here you're also using the catalyst to allow for ether jump. Ether jump have two meanings. One is it expands our willpower resource quickly to convert that back into rage. Oh, I can block everything. So tanky. So the second to that is because I have so many transfer time reduction from willpower to rage. So the moment we have too much willpower, we can just quickly blink and look how quick the transfer is. Very fast. How does this build does damage? Is that we'll debuff enemies with a status effect, and after getting debuffed, we'll follow up with AoE walling arrows, and this will do about 100,000 to 400,000 damage. Followed by that, if it's a boss monster over half a mil HP, we can mark with superiority, and this does a lot. Let's have a look at it. So we mark it, and this is pretty bad, right? He's gone. Why did he die is because not only he's marked by impurity, he increased damage taken, he's also debuffed by stasis. That means after 1.5 seconds, he takes another 100% more damage. Of course, what you just saw there was the final spell, which I'll show you guys. It's the Gunslinger. Gunslinger does 10 shots, and each of the shots goes anywhere from 10,000 to 30, 50,000 damage, and this is a burst fire. This does cost a little bit of rage, but this is very worth it in terms of triggering special effects and just dealing tons of damage. This build, which will go through the talent tree very quickly after, and it will go through the choice of the items and also the character details. What I want to share with you guys is this build. Look at how much HP it has. It has 96k HP. On top of that, it has, where is it? Where is it? Come on. Yeah, this is the one. It has 100% block chance and 26 block efficiency without the shield. Because there's a few of the blocking gems, you can see that 8% block chance, 8% block chance, and it is the, there's a lot of different gems that gives you block chances, and it's the HP gems, a bit of life touch. So we're very tanky, we're very durable, we burst a lot harder. One of the best builds I tried so far. Hey Shady. Yeah, this is the offline build which we're showing for the end game. Let's go fight, let's see how strong we are. So, this is the combo. You debuff them, you one-shot them. I think that did quite a bit of damage. Let's try it again. Debuff, one shot. Yeah, 500k, did you see that? I quit for 500k.
Not right.
And that's not all. I am so tanky, I can stand here. They can't really do much to us. Look, got so much health regen. I forgot to tell you guys about the health regen. And also when they hit us, they get a weakness stack. That means they actually are... Well, how should I say it? They can't do more damage because they have weakness stack. Now, how did I have this much health regen? Let's see how much health regen we have. Oh boy. Our health regen is 2.7k health regen per second. And that's a lot. Because we had a special perk that gives more health regen, depending on the armor we were. So mobile. And this is a, what, close to 400k HP monster. And let's have a look at this. We'll find the monster, debuff it, and there you go. Oh. Did not get my combos right. So now I have too much willpower. I'm gonna spend some willpower by blinking around, and then we'll just burst them. Very good conversion and very good method. Of course, I used the rotation roundly here.
That's not happening.
So, if you got too much willpower, just blink around, get your combo out. And you can notice my mistake, I'm not doing enough damage at the moment, simply because I did not have enough of my, I did not have enough willpower. This build does use 2 of the 3 strongest game multipliers. One of the multiplier is status. This multiplies your damage by 100%. The second multiplier it uses is the rage. When rage is over 750, you actually multiply your damage by another 100%, and that's on top of the multiplication of the damage you deal with critical hits. So now we have enough rage. This should be a big hit. No, we didn't have enough rage. We need rage to be over 750 when we cast the first set of burst, and that will hit very hard, like this one. Oh, this makes him off. Usually for big monsters, the AoE won't do that much, but for the small ones like those, it's pretty good. And that's 400k damage without having rage over 750. Look at his best. Look, 500 damage. Oh no, 500k damage. Sorry about that. So, big monsters with debuff it. Yeah, there you go. Well, this is a 700k HP monster. Let's give it a try.
No.
Oh, there you go. He dies. So, yeah, we'll touch on the item very soon. Just showing you guys how powerful it is. And she and this hunter is so durable, this ranger. 100% block chance. Each time someone attacks us, they get weakened. And we have so much lifesteal. It's like a perfect in-game build. Loving it. So much room for mistake as well. And yeah, if I'm in trouble, I can blink around. But you do need to make sure you get enough buffs on and debuffs onto the monsters to maximize your damage output though. I love that she's so tanky, there's so much room for improvement. Look, I'm blocking everything they do to me. And when I get my combo right, they all die. So if you compare the mage and if you compare the warrior, I think this is much more versatile because you get a massive instance of burst damage, you also have the durability. It's the best of both worlds. For the warriors, initially we had lots of damage, we hit over what, 170k and we don't survive. The mage, we survive, but we don't burst damage. We deal damage over time with curses. This one has the best of both worlds.
Not happy.
The key part is to learn to balance your rage and your willpower. You only want to cast your burst spells with Willing Arrow and also Gunslinger when you have over 750 rage, which is not hard to do because we can easily convert it maximum. Then we just cast it this way. The next one. Lovely, right? Now we look at how powerful this character is. So one thing to highlight is my friend X-Knife, he did farm a little bit. He found one legendary, but everything else was just normal level 90 or level 65 years. This was level 65, level 68. So you might think the weapon is overpowered, but it's just that he rolled into 3 slots, 1 offensive slots, and added flat damage. This is the best source of damage. And other than that, all of his rings, level 40 over here, this ring, and this one's level 90. So most of the items were bought from the shop. This one's level 70, and not all of them actually added towards damage. And that still did over 500k damage with a crit. So what he went for is transfer time reduction, so we get more resource quickly back, and also went for more HP, close to 100k HP. In terms of stats, you can see that the allocation is close to 1-to-1 with ferocity and toughness. This allows you to have the most benefits from your maximum HP perks and also have high enough critical rates to do tons of damage. Critical rate is about 50%, 47%, can definitely go higher, and critical chance or critical hit damage is about 400%, so that's 4 times your current damage. And why do we have a catalyst? Well, you do more damage with a shield if you go for the shield perk with the Bane of Trinity, yes, but the versatility of having blink versus boss monsters is so good. The boss monsters will try to catch you with multiple spells and AoE cast, and the utility of a blink that uses a decoy and then also spend your resource of willpower so quickly means I can always be combining combos and spamming my spells. Let's look at her stats a little bit. So the resistance are not too terribly high, about this much, so those are not official because those items were mainly bought from the shop, they're not tailored. The biggest factor is most of the items are easily socketable, and you just socket the HP gems, you also socket the block chance gems. She actually did not go for much of the damage, otherwise she could quit so much higher. How did she get 100% block? Well, this is where the fun part starts, guys. We're going to the talent tree. Firstly, I'm going to highlight a few really important talents for this particular build. After that, we're going to go through how do you level this character and what perks do you pick initially and what do you go from there. So right away, we know there's a multiplier that gives us more damage. The first multiplier is which time cannot heal. After getting status on the enemy, your damage will be dealt again 100% onto the enemy after 1.5 second delay. So the monsters that survived my first rally of arrows of 400,000 damage will take another set of 400,000 damage after 1.5 seconds. This is a big one, and the next part is we also do more damage after the delay, which is really strong. So this is how sometimes we get to 500k or even further. The second biggest perk, some of you might have known, is into turning willpower into fury regeneration, and you don't lose fury. And the second perk is that when you have a rage that's over 750, you multiply all your skill, and this includes the rage spells, by another 100%. So this multiplies our damage twice now. So those are the two biggest multipliers. There's some few other ones which are not bad. For example, we can have the ones that gives 100% critical hit damage, which this doubles your damage when you crit. You only lose 30% damage. You might think this is a lot, but damage is counted addictively, and here we have 560% additional damage. So losing 30% of that is nothing compared to a double damage with more critical hit damage. So let's get into the perks. I will go through you guys what happens when she or this character is leveling up. So what we're on the go for is, because this build is not perfect at the start, you want to take the path right away when you're leveling to go for the damage. You go for weapon damage, you go for critical damage, and the key part is get the 60% critical hit chance. After that, you take the offensive route towards the part. You can come here, or you can come here directly. So you want to perk yourself to the third tier of perks, and you want to spin your wheel a little bit this way. So because I had some questions about leveling, so you want to spin your wheel this way to quickly get this one. Oh, let's go back. Come on back. It's already spinning. So you want to spin your wheel this way to quickly get the first multiplier of 100% damage. You want to get the rage multiplier, so you do double damage. After getting this one, what you can do is, if you need more damage, you can actually go for the ones that's over here. You can start considering coming back to this one. So I'll spin this back. So after getting this one, what you can consider is you can go directly for the more critical damage, because likely you'll be adding ferocity at the start of the game. After getting ferocity, you should consider pathing yourself towards the status effect, because the spells here guarantee 100% status effect. Oh yes, we'll go through the spells. Because the spells guarantee 100% status effect, this is your second multiplier, and this is where you can do so much more damage. So after getting the rage multiplier, you go for the status debuff multiplier, and after that, well, you're pretty much free into all the perks. What I do recommend is going to the perk here for the 10 points. That makes the character very durable. After that, you can go for more defensive perks over here to receive damage after again. So you only receive 40% damage, and after a second, you receive the rest of the damage. Because we have so much regen, so much block, and so much lifesteal, well, you recover everything back after a second anyways. So after picking this one, there is another choice now. Do you want more damage, or do you have trouble with your rage? If you have trouble with your rage, go for the maximum willpower and rage. It's located over here. So what you can do is you can curve up along the side and go from here. You can pick those two, and this will give you maximum rage to 1400. And of course, if you go for that, you should get the Manic Slaughter, which increase your damage dealt by 2% for each 100 unspent rage. You're likely to have rage over 750 just for your first multipliers over here for the frenzied blows, so you definitely want to keep this one. After that, the small perks, don't really worry about those too much, because those are optional ones once you get high level. You might want to take the impaled movement, because you're likely to slow enemies with status anyways, and if they're slowed, you do more damage. Because you're using a gun, it's good to consider going for all projectile pieces targets, because sometimes they got too close and my railing gun wants to pierce them so we can kill everyone in sight. After that, yes, now it gets to the fun part. Unfortunately, we don't use the Bane of Tyranny for the fact we don't use a shield, but if you go for Bane of Tyranny, the damage can go easily up to how much? Oof, I think the damage can easily go to a few mil. I heard this will be fixed, but it's not fixed yet. So we're seeing 500k damage with a crit. You can go for a few million damage with this point, with having a shield. The trade-off is you can't use any of the willpower skills because you don't have a catalyst. Of course, the shield will also give you more block rate, so this is definitely optional if you go with a gun and a shield. Having a shield with high block rate will give you so much damage. For example, I was doing 1700 damage on my online account. The moment I perked this skill out, I was doing 3 times the damage with a shield and a good weapon. The key is to have a good shield and good weapon, single hand weapon. So you can start perking for the blocking. This is one of the reasons this character is super blocky, because every seconds or every 1.5 seconds you get higher block rate. After you get the second perk, you'll be looking at 5% more block rate every 1.5 seconds, and this add up to, you know, pretty much 50% block rate until you block again, and this repeats. Even without this, she blocks like 50% of the time. After that, this is the reason of this character is super durable as well. The chest you wear will determine how durable you are. You can go for the resilience score or you can go for health regen. For this one, we went for health regen, and every point of health point on the character will give you health regen. Here we went for more block chances, but if you went for more maximum health, which is actually harder to roll because you're randoming 3 different sockets at the vendor. So let me show you. So what you can do is any of the items you can render the sockets at the vendor, and because you can render 3 sockets, it's likely to render anywhere from 1 to 3 sockets. And if you're rendering, this also render what you get. You can get the support, you can get the defensive, and this gets difficult. So we didn't render enough health. But for every point of health on this armor, which is 3600 health, and this gives her so much regen, because 0.5 health regen per health point added, and this adds even more with the next perk. So this is actually pretty tanky already. After that, you might think, hey, well, I have a bit of health regen, but I do so much burst damage, I do half a mil of burst damage, why don't I get some life regen? And that's where you go into this side for the global life leech, and you also go for the life leech for attack damage. This means she is actually leeching about 5% of her life when she deals damage. Let me show you over here. So, and we also had gems and perks that actually give her more life leech. Here we have more global life leech. Overall, she's doing 10% life leech. If you imagine that she's doing about close to 100,000 damage a second, and with a life leech, she basically regens another 10,000 life per second. But knowing how bursty we are, we're regening anywhere from like 50k to 100k a second. So this is pretty insane already. I know, I keep saying it's so good, such a good build. After that, well, the build's pretty much maxed out. You of course won't get this far until you get to much later of the game, so some of the perks are optional. The biggest highlights will definitely have to be the multipliers here, and the fact you can go for more defensive with your block rates. And notice that we don't have actually the block shield. How do we get this much block rate? It's from the perks here. 6% more block chances, 3% more block chances, and here when we block, we debuff enemies with weakness. When they debuff with weakness, what happens is they reduce damage that they deal to us. We get more block chances here, and I think there's 1 more block chances here, 5% more block chances. And there's a lot of maximal HP perks here. So this keeps this character healthy, tanky, and with enough block chance that's given over here, we're super durable. Oh, I can't show this one. Yeah, here you go. This is the final block chance. And yeah, you can see in the fights, with this much block chance and this much burst damage, she is definitely tailored towards the late game. You keep your distance, but if you happen to be in trouble, well, easy. You just blink around. Very mobile. And when I blink, I can have the perks. And let's go through the skills now. Should have went through those early, right? So, this is our utility. This is also our willpower spender. With enough reduction to willpower, with enough reduction to the transfer times, we almost regen all the rage instantly. What you want is you want this skill to have no CD. If you don't have this perk, you're looking at, oh, I don't have this one. So if you don't have this perk, you're looking at about 3.3 seconds. It's not good to have a 0.4 seconds because we want to regen rage so much faster. So after having this one, you should be on 0 cooldown. And you can easily perk for something else. Sometimes you go for crowd control. You don't need to regen willpower though. Sometimes I go for the curse here, for an additional layer of debuff. The curse gives us additional damage to enemies, but not really necessary, because we do enough damage with the Mark of Impurity. So this increased teleport rage, this reduce cost, this doesn't really need to reduce cost, I need to spend cost quicker. So this is very flexible. The biggest part is just have no CD, and you can perk it out for more movement speed and also leave a decoy. So this way, this is a small defensive spell as well. Second to that, we have 2 utility debuffs. The first one is the Death Geyser. Death Geyser itself does decent damage, but the biggest factor here is the ability to debuff enemies. Which, let me find it for you. There it is. It's on the first perk, and that means this is perfect. Having 100% debuff chance for 5 seconds means you do double damage to enemies after 1.5 seconds. And because of a talent tree, having this combination means you do so much damage even in the early games, because this is unlocked at level 1, I believe, at the first few levels of the skill. And after that, you can go for anywhere with critical hit damage, status alignment, leave the trial, and you can go for the critical damage, you can go for critical chances per charge, reduced rage is really good, and also weapon damage. Nothing too special, you can flip around a little bit. The biggest factor is having status debuff, having lower rage, so you don't spend that much. Because you don't want to be spending your rage below 750 that you can't get the second multiplier of another 100% damage. Hey Jeremy. And Shady, yes, I've been playing this game for actually 2 days maybe. Who do 1.3 million with 69 fighting 40 level characters. Oh, yes, they do more damage with the shield, that's right. But I'm not using the shield perk though, that's a factor. If I'm using this shield perk, I can easily do 2 to 3 million. And because this multiplies your damage by about 3 times. I do half a mil damage at the moment with this one, but we can easily go further. So this is your first debuff. What you do is usually debuff enemies, you follow by AoE spell, or you follow by your single target spell. And then you spend your resource and you repeat. Second debuff and utility spell is a very potent one against bosses. You increase duration, you make them more vulnerable for more damage, you reduce your cooldown, this one allows you to deal more damage, so this is a massive debuff against a single target. So enemy takes so much more damage when you debuff them. And followed by that, we increase the critical damage on the market target, and also enemy under 10% dies instantly. So this debuff is used against bosses. You can't use it right away because it needs a target, but we'll save this one for boss. After that, we can see the Whirling Arrows. This one's pretty straightforward. Damage multiplier per enemy within the skill of area effect. So that means if you're hitting about 10-15 enemies, you're hitting close to 500,000 or close to 1 million damage with multiples of debuffs. After that, you reduce cooldown when you kill an enemy. Arrows become vertical barrage, so this is not bad as well. And lastly, all damage is dealt instantly, which is really good. We do lose a bit of weapon damage, but it's okay. So this is actually not bad as well. Basically, what this spell does is it clears all the monsters that leaves one single target alive, and you debuff it, you kill it with Gunslinger. Let's look at the final skill Gunslinger. It has so many buffs here. So what we do is, we'll fire all the shots when the skill is used. This reduces weapon damage, but keep in mind, this is addictive, so we don't lose that much. So I actually lose quite a bit. So I lost about 600 damage on the average damage, but it's okay. So if I don't do this...
Not right now.
It's actually not going. So if I do this, it shoots everything. This one makes it charge. So you have to charge it, then you let go. It actually takes a while to charge as well. So that is definitely a perk you want to get. Actually, it's not working. I'll leave it here. So, when the enemy suffers a critical hit, the damage is bounced to the first enemy targeted. Means you'll be critting a lot. You actually make this into a splash damage as well. Second to that, each shot of the brand hits enemy deals area effect. So this allows you to have AoE damage again. Followed by that, increase number of targets. This is really good, because here is 10 targets, 10 shots. Now we go for 5 shots. After that, enemies are automatically targeted in the corner in front of you. This is auto targeting. Definitely want this one. And lastly, you get a critical damage, because this multiplies. So overall, this build has great survivability because its choice of high HP base and high defensive mechanics of block. 100% block with 26% efficiency means you 100% reduce income damage by 26% at least. And because you're blocking that you apply debuffs such as weakness into the enemies, you actually reduce the damage even further. So each time we block, AoE wise, enemy gets debuffed. After that, you do have a great source of burst. Although you don't actually do much with your ether jump, the ether jump can also debuff enemy with a curse that increases your damage dealt to enemies. You have a great single target point, you have a great AoE, you also have great mobility. So loving this build. What I'll do is I'll again share it on Discord for you guys. Give it a try and let me know how you think. This is very powerful, right? And yep, those are a few of the items we had here. That's good. So yes, if you guys enjoy my builds, please subscribe onto the YouTube channel, onto the Majestic Multigaming. I look towards into more builds for the Wolcen, and we look towards more of the endgame builds. I'm getting into the endgame now with my online account. We'll be testing a lot of things, we'll be trying different builds. I'm looking towards a shield build. Yes, I was told that this point was actually going to be nerfed upon this patch, but because it didn't get time to nerf it, we're going to curve our warriors into a shield warrior. We're also going to try a shield archer that's going to come for you guys. But for this build, it was made under the assumption that this point will be nerfed, so we actually didn't go into this point. Otherwise, I can easily say this is a 2 million damage build, right? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about the builds and what builds you want to see next. I had a request for zombie build, but I'm still in the frame to make the endgame builds going first, and then after that we'll go for some fun build like zombies. So let me know what you think, guys. Thank you for watching again.